Hello everybody, this is Guerrilla17, your wonderful leader, as per usual. And today, what are we going to be doing? We're going to be doing something interesting, something non-Zelda related. My last two videos have been Zelda related, so we're going to do something a little different. Today we're going to be doing a comparison video of two games that are the same game. Aladdin for the NES, and Aladdin for the Super Nintendo. Why am I doing this? Because they are ridiculously similar and ridiculously different. I'm going to tell you which one is better. I'm going to tell you right now that they both have certain things that work better in either one, and it's gonna be a first impressions video and a comparison video of the first stage from Aladdin. A little background here: during the 80s and 90s, Disney had a sort of monopoly on good movie games. I'm sure a certain company made popular to hate in the eyes of gamers by a certain nerd named LJN had a monopoly on bad movie games. But that's besides the point. What we're going to be talking about is a good movie game. They're both very good, and I played a little bit of it, beaten one of them, but we're gonna do an impressions on the first level, what I thought of whenever I first saw it, and yeah, so it works. Jumping right in, here we go. So we're gonna be comparing two things. This spot that you're seeing right here is going to be the perfect example. You can see pretty good graphics for the NES, I think. Not too bad. The controls are a little stiff, even though it moves really fast, which is a major problem, actually. Because you slide all over the place. I know it looks like I'm sucking really bad at the game, but it's just horrible controls, though it tends to work most of the time. So this one part is the only part I've found that really doesn't work well. The rest of it is workable. Now, I will say that the game moves a lot faster in any time but this one. Watch how long it takes me to finish this as I'm talking. But there are two things we're going to be talking about. I actually finished it just then. There are two things we're going to be talking about, which are the boss fight and the part that you just saw. Now, moving on to the SNES version, I'll show you what that looks like. There are some obvious differences as soon as you start the game. You can easily tell that the graphics are much better. Probably can't tell, but the controls are much nicer. I died right there, so that's why this clip is a bit longer. So yeah, you can easily tell that the controls are better. The other thing to note is that the life bar is a bit different. The life bar in the NES version wasn't a life bar. It was a number that ticked down as you got hit. You have 8 hits to start out with in the NES version. While in this one you start out with 4, which makes this one a bit harder actually than the NES version. Though I think this one controls a lot better, even though it moves a bit slower, as you can probably tell. There are a few cheap shots, but not too many. Think Castlevania 4 in terms of cheapness. I die a lot in this game. I'm not very good at it, to tell you the truth, but it is a good game. So, moving on from this, it'll show you. I'll let it keep rolling so you can see so that we can see the major differences. There are also treasure chests instead of the stuff just lying around there. And the pots are still there that drop apples and foods and stuff that heal you. the apples are used as projectiles. The apples are very interesting because they stun people. Also, these barrel guys aren't in the NES version, I don't think. I did not see them. And if I did, then I missed them. And I just saw a treasure chest in-game, so yeah. You can easily see a bunch of differences. I'll put in some more footage from the NES version so you can see a little bit of the differences, and then we'll move on to the boss fight, which is a lot different in the Super Nintendo version than in the NES version, and it is a bit harder, actually. Yeah, difficulty in this game is upped from the NES version. The NES version was tedious. This game is much more difficult. The jumping mechanics are fixed from the NES version. There are actual physics involved. See me duck under that arrow. Yeah, there are actual physics involved, which is really cool. Yeah, I got past that. Now we're moving on to some more stuff. There's a glitch here that I wanted to mention that looks a bit odd, so we'll be talking about that now. This happens multiple times, it's not just once. As you can see in the video, we'll be starting it in 3, 2, 1. The arrow bounced off. In the actual game, that would have hurt me. In the Super Nintendo game, that would have hurt me. So, it's an interesting little glitch there. Okay, so, boss fight time. This is going to be very interesting. Basically, as you can see, the boss doesn't move when he swings, which I'm going to explain later. The what do you call it? The swing is a bit delayed. When he swings at you, it's a bit easy to jump on him, and you can kind of phase through his swing, which is really weird. So yeah, that's kind of odd. And he swings at you when you're up there, so you can just stay up there and fight him, which I don't like doing, but I kind of had to because it was doing some really weird glitching while I was fighting him. So yeah, and that killed him. So now we'll be discussing the Super Nintendo version. Okay guys, as you can see, there is a little bit more story in the Super Nintendo version, which ups it in my book. And it follows the movie pretty well from what I see. Shows him being all sad, shows her in the thing, but it shows it all from Aladdin's point of view. And you can see, as you can see, the what do you call him? The sword slinger, the shopkeeper person, he moves when he swings, which is really interesting, because it gets really difficult. And I beat him. So yeah, now we're going to decide, we're going to weigh both games, and I'm going to discuss it. So yeah. Very much story driven in the Super Nintendo version. So here we go. Ready to discuss. Alright people, so now that we've seen both games, two major points of the game, the platforming and the boss fights. What do I think? Well, I think both games are very good. To be honest, I love both games. But the Super Nintendo one is better. Because it controls better, it's more story driven, and it's harder. So those three things make the game better than the NES version. The bugs in the NES version were fixed in the Super Nintendo version. Super Nintendo version felt much more big and epic, like Agrabah should be. So, thank you for watching. This was Cody's Comparisons. Talk to you later.